Hello, everyone. This is Ben Dunn, founder of Anarchic Press, a comic book company established in 1985. Creator of such comics as Warrior Nun, Ninja High School, Marvel Mangaverse, and a host of other comics. So, Anarchic Press has been around for a long time, and we usually make a habit of trying to have production meetings every week. Now, it used to be back in the day when we had our central office, we would gather everyone together and we'd be in a room and we'd talk about, how things were going on projects, talk about other projects, talk about things we're going to do in the future, conventions, things like that. So it was important to maintain a line of communication and to actually have substantive meetings where we actually were trying to accomplish something. Now, with the advent of the goof that happened just recently, now people are doing mostly online meetings, which actually is quite convenient because now we can actually include people who can't normally make it to production meetings. Also, we have a ability to just be able to come in when we're supposed to and not have to worry about trying to arrive on time or anything else like that. And it's just very convenient. So I'm all for online meetings. So anyway, yesterday we talked about our usual production stuff. Talking about comics that are in the pipeline, finding out the status of comics, talking about new material. We talk about submissions that we've been getting and see if they're, you know, qualify to meet the AP standard, as they say. And we talked about comics that how well they're doing. We talked about sales, of course, like that. Now, one of the things that was brought up is the size of comic books. Now, usually, the standard size of a comic book is usually about this size here, which is the standard six and a half by 10 inches. That's usually about the standard. I could be off by a few, centimeters, but that's essentially the size of a normal comic. Recently, we talked about the positive reception of DC going to digest size for their comic books. I guess to compete with the manga, because manga is digest size. Now, digest size is about this size. It's about 6 by 9. It's much smaller than the comic book size, as you can see compared side by side. It's quite a size difference. Now, does size really matter in comic books? I mean, for decades, Archie Comics has been doing exactly that. They've been doing digest size. And in fact, back in the 70s, it was a highly popular format for a very long time. They're easy to, they cost less to print, that's for sure. So we could actually reduce the price of the comic. It allows people to read a comic that they couldn't find normally, and it's very convenient. It'll fit very handily in a pocket. And oh, by the way, I don't know if there's a little bit of trivia. Antarctic Press actually owns the trademark to the name Pocket Manga. So the so and it seems to be something that a lot of comic book readers have no issue with as far as the size is concerned. So it could be a new paradigm where we could actually start seeing comics in that size. Now, I'm not saying this could replace the floppy, which begs to ask, well, if this is going to be a new dynamic, then how do we fit enough material to justify doing this kind of size? Now, of course, Anarchic Press has got 40 years worth of material, and that's how a lot of companies, publishers who've been around for a long time, is to be able to exploit their inventory of material collected for the last, decades that they've been in business. And that's where the advantage comes for publishers who've been around for a long time and own the IPs that they have. Marvel and DC are in a distinct advantage in that they have 70, 80, 100 years worth of material that they can go back and reissue in these digest-sized formats. You know, will that compete directly with the manga? It's difficult to say. It's too early in the game to actually figure out. Now, my understanding is, and I could be wrong, my understanding from what I've heard through the grapevine, my spies out there, they inform me that the DC versions of the digest comics have been very positively received, and sales have been fairly good. Now, I'm not going to say they're going to blow out manga, because manga has they've got also decades worth of material. Plus, the format has been readily accepted. Now the main advantage is that I haven't seen any of the DC digests. I'm not sure if they're printed in color. I assume they are. Will that be a selling point for a lot of readers? Is having the books in color. Now, if we can get digest-sized comics back into, say, like grocery stores and things like that, where they don't take up a large amount of space and can be impulse buys, then this might be a potential game changer in the market. Now, like I said, it's just not a new idea. Publishers have been doing this for a long time. It's just that when the newsstand market was abandoned, they no longer saw a need to do digest. DC was very much into doing digest comics, so this is not new to them actually. This is something that they had been doing for a long time, and they just simply gave up on it when the direct market started to take over. So could this be a return to something that has been known to work before in the past? It would be interesting to see how digest comics did back in the 70s. I'm sure it did okay, because I think, and I could be wrong, correct me if I'm incorrect, it's like Archie still does digest comics. They still seem to do them on a regular basis. Sometimes they'll do 100-page, 200-page digest comics, which is a fantastic value if you think about it. Especially if you can sell them for less than $5. It's like a very, very healthy way to get comics back into the hands of readers. So this is something that Anarch Press is definitely looking into. We want to try to expand our repertoire, our offerings basically. And we do have material that we could rely on. We have Ninja High School, which is, reaching up to issue 200 at the moment. We have Gold Digger, which passed 300. We could do things like Twilight X, many other things that the Anarch Press owns on a regular basis. So we're seeing if this is something that could potentially be I'm not going to say it's going to be a game change because everyone says that, but it could lead to something a little bit that could help expand the comic readership and offer a different a different aspect of the comics collecting that could be something that would help the industry at large. Now, publishers are trying to put out as much, try to make as much profit as they can on their offerings, and we realize that there is a collectability to comics, and will that affect the collectability of comics? It's hard to say. It's too early to say, to see what that. I know that very few people actually collect digest comics. There is a collectible market for it. It's just I don't see it very often, and I certainly don't see very many of them, at comic book shows. So I'm assuming that a lot of digest comics back in the 70s just ended up in landfills or just in back of someone's collections. But the fact of the matter is, maybe people are willing to take a chance on something new that hasn't been seen in a long time. So, will this be the saving grace for the comic industry? I don't know. It's hard to say. DC seems to be doing okay with it. They certainly have enough material that they could pump out these digest-sized comics till the cows come home. So, it could actually compete very well with manga if they choose the right material to offer. So, we'll see. We are very interested as a company to see how the long-term effects of this is going to be. But I certainly am all for anything that will help the health and viability of the comic industry. And if this is one of those things that may help it, then I'm all for it. So anyway, that's just my take on things. And until next time, this has been Dunn signing off.